Alright folks, so this is almost the fifth time that I'm opening my Gigabyte Aero 15x. I got this laptop 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and I have really enjoyed it. I love the laptop. It's powerful, much better than the Macintosh that I got from my office, and it has been my daily driver through the entire pandemic. All this time of working from home, I've been using this laptop rather than my Mac because it can just handle a lot more. I also like to game every now and then, a little bit of Assassin's Creed, a little bit of Red Dead Redemption sometimes, and so I love this laptop for its power. It's also able to process video quite well, and so overall I'm really happy with it, and it's been facing just a really simple issue. The GPU cooling fan is I don't know, it's not working, and it's not the motor. The motor is working fine, it's the fan that's getting stuck. So I ended up ordering something, a replacement pair of fans, CPU and GPU. They came all the way from the US during the lockdowns in India, and unfortunately the CPU fan did not work, and I did this through Ubuy, and I tried asking them if I can keep the GPU fan and just get a refund for the CPU fan, which would save me all kinds of trouble, but apparently that's not possible. And so I'm going to have to return the pair of fans to Ubuy again, and if I order again from somewhere outside, it's going to be a long process. It's going to be another 6 weeks. Since it's not a motor problem, I'm going to try to see if I can clean the fan and lubricate it, and it might actually work for a few more months while we all figure a way out of this pandemic, and then hopefully I should be able to get some support in India. Gigabyte doesn't provide support in India, which is a real pain. Not that I needed their support all these years, but now that I do, it's very difficult because they don't sell laptops in India and they don't provide laptop support in India. They do provide support for their motherboards, but I called them a couple of times and they are not able to do anything about the laptop. So I'm stuck without that support right now, and hence what we're going to try to attempt today is open up the laptop for, I don't know, the fifth time within the last month, and see if we can replace, or not replace, but actually clean up the GPU fan. I have my thermal paste with me as well, just in case. Oops, I missed a couple of screws here. I have my thermal paste because we're going to take out the entire heatsink to get to the fan. I have replaced the thermal paste last couple of times I opened the laptop, but every time I open it, there's some loss of thermal paste, and so you can just top it up a little bit. I'm not going to do a full clean or anything, but just top it up. I don't know if other people work like this, but somehow I'm used to arranging every screw that I take out in the same pattern and then put them back in the same exact position that they were. I don't know if it helps or if it's probably just helps my OCD, but it can't harm, right? So there you go. Alright, cool. So here's my laptop. Like I said, very powerful machine. I have 32 GB RAM, a terabyte, 2 terabytes of disk space. The one problem that I did find with this laptop is that the hard disk gave up after maybe 1.5 years, and so I ended up replacing that with a 1 terabyte hard drive or SSD. But that was the only problem. Apart from that, it was all fine. So this is the fan that we're talking about, and if you see, it's not moving freely. It's stuck somewhere. This one is the CPU fan on the other hand, and the CPU fan is working fine. It's quite a tedious process. I've just done it so many times that I'm getting quite used to it. What we're going to do is take out the entire heat sink here and then get to the fan on the other side so that we can take it out, lubricate it a little bit, see if it helps. I didn't see a lot of dust in there, but it's getting stuck somewhere. So it keeps making a noise, and then sometimes it just gets really stuck and it won't budge at all. I'm going to create the second heatsink screw pattern over here. That's the heatsink coming off. Like I said, this is the thermal paste. That's my GPU, that's the CPU. It's getting right to the edge. I might clean it up a little bit. That's about it. And so this is the fan that we need to work with. So what I'm going to do is take the fan out and then see if we can fix it. So there's the fan. There's a little bit of a play here, and if I take it out, it's not too bad. I mean, I don't know if you can see this. It's fairly clean, but there's something going wrong. So what I'm going to try to do is clean up the hole inside and then put some oil in there or some grease and see if that makes things better. It's such a tiny hole that I'm going to have to use a needle to get in there. I don't really have any cleaning equipment, so to say. So what we're going to do is apply a little bit of Vaseline. We are really, I mean, we're not doing anything sophisticated here. This is just an attempt to see if I can revive this fan. And I feel like I need a thicker grease. I would have used just regular oil, but I don't think that will actually work. So hence this attempt with Vaseline. It's not an electronic component, so we're not messing around with any of the actual electrical connections. So hopefully Vaseline shouldn't harm. but we'll see how it works out. I know that the motor works. It's not as free as the CPU fan, but it's better than what it was before. So even if I have to do this like once a month, I think that should suffice until the lockdown ends and we're able to get on with our business. I'm just going to put this back together and try to switch on the laptop and connect the fan. Whenever I repair something, I mean, it obviously satisfies the geek in me. But it's also, it reminds me of a very interesting incident and a way of thinking about the world that I had when I was in the US. I'm a photography geek as well, and I have a couple of different DSLRs and lenses. And I was in the US. A colleague of mine from the US was working with me, and there was some problem with my lens, and I had to send it out for repair. And the way it works in the US is that there's no service centers. So it's not like you go somewhere and you get it repaired. You send it by post. And I was terrified of the prospect of sending my beloved lens by post, and it might get damaged in the process, things like that. I was really worried about it, and I was talking to my colleague from the US, and he said, "Oh, great, let it break, you'll get a replacement. In fact, why don't you smash it before you send it out?" And I've heard of my friends do this. I couldn't get myself to do it because I feel like our way of looking at even inanimate possessions in India is as if these objects have their own spirit. And that's at the base at how we take care of our possessions in India. Whereas for my colleague there, it was just a thing, it was a lens. Its job was to take light and convert it into an image on the sensor. And so if this one broke, you'll get another one. And that's it. So every time I try to repair any machine, anything that I have, I go back to that conversation, and I still can't get myself to think that way about my possessions. My laptop is my laptop. I love it. Alright, so that's the last screws of the heatsink. I think we're going to connect these fans and give them a go. And hopefully they work. Wow. Absolutely zero noise. I feel like we've done it, folks. extremely happy about this. This means that I can play. We'll see how long the grease holds. Because it's not a professional lubricant, I feel like I might have to do this again in a month's time. But now that I know it works, instead of looking for a fan, I'm going to look for a lubricant. And wow, I'm really excited that this has worked. So 17,000 rupees, and 3 months later, we ended up fixing this with a 10 rupee, a 42 rupees bottle of Vaseline, but we used like 10 paise worth. So there you go.